I have found this to be the quality in lawyers, and that is, do they have drive and ambition? When they have drive and ambition and a desire to improve their life, they can make a lot of other things happen. They can work through a whole lot of things. Well, hello and welcome to the J. Sterling Hughes Show, where we share how we have built our family law practice from 0 to 25 attorneys and $15 million in revenue over the past 10 years. And my purpose here is to document what's working and what's not working, with hopes that you can take that, you can recontextualize it and shorten your success curve. I'm your host, Jeff Hughes, and today's show, we're going to talk about an experience that I had about 8.5 years ago that I have been waiting for a year to share, because it was a foundational experience for me where I learned so many valuable lessons that I'm hopeful I can convey to you in a way that you can use these in your firm as well. And so I've titled this podcast 10K or $10,000 Lessons with Lee. And I'm talking about Lee Rosen. And for a lot of us, we know who Lee is because he's been around for a number of years supporting law firms and attorneys, helping them succeed. I've been a part, and I still am a part of his group, that I get a lot of value from him today and from his material that he puts out. And so I just want to share with you an experience that I had with him about 8.5 years ago in December of 2015, when I went down to meet him in Florida. And so I called it 10K Lessons with Lee because I had a pucker up moment when he told me that it would cost me $10,000 to spend a day with him so I can ask him questions. But it was some of the best money I have ever spent in my life. So let me give you some context around this. First, I'm going to break this podcast up into 3 episodes. There's so much meat here to share. I don't want to pack it all into one because I want to get as much value and mileage out of it as I can, but I want to be able to have time to break it down for everyone so they can extract out, so you can extract out what I found here and what I learned from Lee. So going back to 2015, our firm is a year plus old. So we're a year and a few months old. We had grown from 0 to 8 attorneys pretty quickly, and we thought we were hot stuff. But when you rolled back the curtains, you picked up the hood, you could see that we actually were mediocre at best on our good days, and we were bad on our normal days. And we did not like where we were. My co-founder, Tony Carls, and I just were not happy with where things were headed. We didn't want to invest our career in something to be mediocre and flat out bad. And so we knew something had to change. And so I had been following Lee and been reading his materials and thought it was great stuff. And so I reached out to him and said, hey, Lee, you've mentioned a few times that you do some consulting. Would you mind if we came down or met you somewhere to talk about what's going on in our practice, with hopes that you can maybe shed some light on some of our challenges? And he said, sure. And so we set a date for a time in December of 2015. We met down in South Beach in Miami area. And this was a big deal for us. We were spending a lot of money for this advice and we wanted to get our most out of it. So I sent him a big, long list of questions in advance. And I said, okay, here's what we want to talk about. Sent that all down to him, and we met on the appointed day at a Regis location down on South Beach. And we sat down and I remember having 2 recorders, my phone and another recorder, just in case one of them broke or didn't record, I had a backup, right? And so we just started asking questions and methodically worked through issue after issue after issue. And Lee was spectacular with his openness and sharing with us, and his advice was just prescient and so valuable to us. And we were taking copious notes. And I took 7 pages of single-spaced notes that day because I didn't want to miss a thing. And so I've looked back on those notes, and I've got the benefit now of 8.5 years of our practice developing from 8 attorneys at that point to where we are today, closing in on 30 or 25 plus. I know that, but somewhere between 20 and 25 or 25 and 30 is where we're sitting at today. So we've grown quite a bit since then, and I've got to see the wisdom of what Lee shared that I want to pass on to you. So the 3 topics I want to talk about today are hiring lawyers, attorney handoffs, meaning one attorney handing off a case to another attorney to handle, and I want to talk about lawyer retention. In the future podcasts, I'm going to be talking about compensating lawyers, building a lawyer culture, using a PEO, which is like an outsourced HR department. And then in the 3rd episode, I'm going to talk about intake team principles, moving to fixed fee cases, and how to utilize client surveys through the Net Promoter Score. So Hiring lawyers. I'm going to share with you some of the things that Lee told us that have stood up and have withstood the test of time and have been spot freaking on. Really, really good stuff. So when recruiting lawyers, personality is frankly not important at all. Absolutely true. I have not found, nor did Lee find, any correlation between personality and performance for the lawyer. I have met lawyers that have had great personalities, interviewed spectacularly, and were complete duds as lawyers who didn't last more than a few weeks, sort of duds. So duds of a dud, right? Bad ones. And I've had some where I'm scratching my head. This lawyer will not be able to communicate well, will not be able to really connect with clients, turned out to be incredible lawyers, okay? So I have no confidence in myself at all when it comes to looking at or meeting a lawyer and judging how good they'll be by their personality and how they interact over a few different meetings that we've had through the interview process. So the one thing Lee did look for, and that is, does that lawyer and the managing partner get along? Yeah, that's it. That's one of the big ones. Does the managing partner and the lawyer get along? And I have found that to be spot on, absolutely true. In our practice, our managing partners are vital leaders on our team, and they make the firm go. They are responsible for the delivery of our service to our clients. And all of the attorneys they work with, they have to have great working relationships with each other. And that's a question. Does that attorney get along? So they don't got to get along with me, for sure, but they need to get along with the managing partner, for sure. That's a big one there. Another one to look for when hiring and recruiting lawyers is, certainly you want to find aggressive and smart lawyers, but here's the key. You can find those, especially the smart ones, a lot of smart ones out there, but do they want, passion want to practice family law? That's such a big factor, because burnout's high in this, and we've hired many lawyers that we thought we could convert over from something else, and let me tell you, most of the time it didn't work. It just didn't work. There's one that has stuck around who's an incredible lawyer. She went from PI to us to family law, and she's terrific. She's one of our senior partners. I can't think of off the top of my head anyone else who has really made that transition and has done it well. They've got to want to practice family law. And if you're screening for something here, if you're trying to get to the question of want and try to come at it different angles, one thing to screen for is, do they really want to talk to clients? Do they look for opportunities to inform their client, to share back, to respond to them? Do they want to talk to clients? So many lawyers don't want to talk to their clients. They want to practice law without the client part of it. So finding lawyers who have willingness and desire to want to actually talk and engage with their clients is a great way to screen for this want to practice family law part of it. Now, I will supplement all this. Now, I don't remember Lee mentioning this, but I have found this to be the quality in lawyers, and that is, do they have drive and ambition? When they have drive and ambition and a desire to improve their life, they can make a lot of other things happen. They can work through a whole lot of things. They can learn quicker. They can learn skills faster. They can develop empathy faster. All those things, if they have drive and ambition. The difficulty there, of course, is that's kind of hard to screen for. You can certainly get in the ballpark of it. You can get in the neighborhood of it, but finding the address is really, really hard. So if you can find that drive and ambition, you look for those people, that you're gold. That's just terrific. So those are the lessons that Lee imparted to us that I have found to be resoundingly true when it comes to hiring lawyers. Next one is attorney handoff. So that's when a lawyer brings a client in or does the initial consult and then ultimately passes that client to another lawyer. And it's almost universal that family lawyers don't believe that's possible. You can't really do that. The client is attached to that first lawyer. They can't detach and go work with the second lawyer. Or, this is even worse, a client comes in because of a referral to lawyer A, and lawyer A passes that client off to lawyer B. Lawyer A just thinks that can't happen because they came in because of my name, my reputation, and so forth. Let me tell you this. I remember Lee telling us that it certainly happens. It happens all the time in his firm. They coach for it, they train for it, and they do it. And I remember being skeptical myself, thinking, I don't know, it's really, really tough. Not sure it's gonna happen. I come back here, talk to my team, to a lawyer, every one of them, no, that can't happen. That'll be really, really tough. That's too difficult. Let me tell you, we do that all the time today. We have worked past that, took years to do it, okay? But it absolutely is something that happens and can happen, and it can happen very, very well. In fact, recently we had a full team meeting. All of our lawyers and paralegals were in a meeting. We brought some clients in to do like a focus group. And this wasn't scripted out, okay? We had a Q&A at the end, and one of the lawyers asked this client panel, how would you feel about your case going from one lawyer to the next lawyer if it's ongoing? And all three clients said, oh, it's no big deal. We can handle that. We want the right lawyer for us. And it was just like this murmur went through our team who couldn't really get their head around that. Even though we had been doing it a little bit, they thought we were doing it kind of to the detriment of our clients in some cases. That wasn't the case at all. Clients don't mind that. What they do mind is not being represented well. What they do mind is not being communicated with. What they do mind is not having phone calls and emails returned and being informed and advised and all that sort of stuff as they go along to the case. That's the stuff that you can't drop. You can pass the client, you just can't drop that part of the service of the client. So no one is upset if the service is being delivered. Deliver the service, no one is going to be upset. It's all good unless the service breaks down. The service breaks down, then the client's gonna find all kinds of reasons why they're unhappy. And it's gonna start with, I was happier with lawyer A because they were doing right by me, but not lawyer B. That's what it'll turn into. So it's taken us years to get to the point for us to believe this and embrace this. But if you're thinking attorney handoffs can't happen, okay, that's just wrong. I'll just break the rules of communication and tell someone they're wrong. I have thought that for years, so I'm telling you from a point of credibility and from experience that you can certainly do that. Just don't drop the service. So let me destroy that myth, throw a grenade on it. It's not valid. You can certainly do that, and you should do that in most cases. And many cases in a firm is pass that client to another attorney who can serve them better and do well there. So that's what he had to say, and that's what I've learned around the issue of client-attorney handoffs. All right, the third topic for today's podcast is lawyer retention. This is key, man. We want this, right? We want to attract good lawyers, which is really hard to do. And once you get a good lawyer on your team who takes care of clients and does well, you want to keep them on the team. You want to retain them. And what Lee shared with me, and we hadn't yet had the experience yet, is that the number one factor, far and away, for retaining a lawyer is their relationship with their managing attorney. It gets back to that MP again. That managing partner is such an important leader in the firm. That factor of their relationship is more important than money. It's more important than, perks. It's more important than the number of cases they've got, all that stuff. That relationship with the lawyer. So getting that managing partner and then treating them abundantly well and empowering them to do their job is so important to retaining lawyers. It has the biggest impact on the firm, and it all starts with leadership. If there's one position to absolutely agonize over, it's the managing partner. Get that right. It means everything to retaining attorneys and so much more, right? So much more. All right, that's it for today. Come back next week. Subscribe if you haven't. I would love to have you tell other people about this if you're getting value. And I'm going to talk about the next 3 lessons that I paid $10,000 to learn from Lee Rosen, but it was some of the best money I've ever spent. Thank you and have a great week.